There are other stories that I read that I'm not going to bore you with, but certainly the one about Adi ibn Hatim, which is new to me, but who was looking at the prophet and looking for the signs that he was indeed a prophet, and saw all these wonderful things, these qualities of compassion, of humility. When shown into the prophet's tent, he was given the only quilt to sit on, and the prophet insisted that he would sit on the ground, but his guest would sit on the quilt. And when he was asked, was not your religion Christianity? Adi ibn Hatim said, yes, why? Then he said, why are you taking a quarter of the income of your people? That's not admissible in your religion, is it? And so Adi knew that this again was a sign that this man was a prophet. Many people would say that to show compassion, to demonstrate mercy, especially to the poor or the lonely, is a sign of weakness, maybe. Or maybe in someone you expect to be a leader, to see compassion, some people say as a sign that he's not really ambitious enough, he's not strong enough to be a leader. But the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, demonstrates, in addition to his quality of compassion, a quality that we don't hear about much these days, do we? We see a quality that is almost, the name of which has almost passed out of usage in the English language. It's the word nobility. Nobility. Every word I've read about the Prophet, peace be upon him, speaks to me of not only his compassion, but his nobility. Again, it's written, what actions are most excellent? To gladden the heart of human beings, to feed the hungry, to help the afflicted, to lighten the sorrow of the sorrowful, and to remove the sufferings of the injured. This is the saying of one who is not only compassionate, but who is noble in thought and spirit. All of this points to a man who was primarily interested in other people's welfare. Some would say, no, his primary interest was to do what God willed, and that's quite right. The two are the same. God's will is the welfare of people, isn't it? How can one love God and seek to obey his will without expressing that love towards the crowning glory of his creation, one's fellow human beings? And Muhammad, peace be upon him, was the prophet of Allah, the Merciful. How could he be called that unless one of the driving forces of his life and ministry was the quality of mercy, compassion? And so for us, my 5 minutes I think is nearly up. I'm very patient. Whether we call ourselves Muslims or Christians or whatever, we have much to learn from the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. And we have much to learn from each other. It's a joy and a privilege for me to minister in the church here in this area, alongside the people who worship here at this mosque and elsewhere. It's good to be with you and among you as we each and together try to follow in the footsteps of people like the Prophet, whose compassion and mercy and nobility are an example to us all. If we are willing to trust and listen to one another as fellow children of the one true God. May peace and blessings be upon the Prophet, and if I may be permitted to say so, may peace and blessings, many blessings, be upon all of you.
You can leave your speech and put it on the website, if there's anything left.
You sure?
That's Steve Smith from All Hallows Church. Really grateful to him for sharing his thoughts about Muhammad, peace be upon him.
एक मैंने 2-3 ये चर्च के चर्च ने कहा था कि आपको बुलाएंगे। मकसद ये था कि कम से कम ये 2-3 बंदे रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की सीरत के बारे में पढ़ेंगे। अगर पढ़ेंगे तो कभी ना कभी कहीं ना कहीं रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की सीरत के बारे में जिक्र ही करेंगे। तो यही इन महफिल को मनाने का मकसद ये है कि लोग जो है मुसर्रे कायनात सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की शख्सियत के बारे में जानें।